Good morning, everyone. Before I start my presentation, I would like to give an apology with regards to this kind of setup. Particularly, I recorded this presentation due to some activity into the regional sport. On the other hand, rest assured that I will do my part in discussing the curriculum implementation as part of the journey. Without further ado, let's begin. How does the curriculum is being implemented into the system of education? I am Ruben D. Paloma, your presenter. Again, my topic is about the nature of curriculum and implementation. To start with, let me read the context that I've included into my slide. What do we mean by curriculum implementation? As stated, the curriculum implementation is an interaction between those who have created the program and those who are charged to deliver. Once we said created, this belongs to the national curriculum. Particularly, the national curriculum refers to the Department of Education, which is the highest governing body into the field of education. As we all know, the Department of Education set the standards for the field that embodies the development of the learners. Sila yung pinakamataas in terms of curriculum planning, although we do have CID in our different divisions. The Department of Education is the highest among the field of education. This agency designs the curriculum for the students. They are the one who give mandates, they are the one who formulate curriculums, competencies, and of course objectives, to be particular, that is or that will be given to the students. They also plan and make the curriculum that is implemented by the different sector into the field. K to 12, ALS, different kind of modalities, they formulated different curriculums into those aspect of education. As the highest governing body into the field, their job is to make the curriculum fits into the needs of the society. Let me recall the curriculum implementation of the K-12 program. What is the reason why the K-12 program was proposed by the late president? Actually, the one of the reason is for the globalization or the society needs for the curriculum change. Nagkakaroon kasi ng discrimination in terms of curriculum internationally. During that time, we are among those country na 10 years lang yung ating curriculum in terms of basic education. Nagkakaroon ng discrimination international level. Ito yung isa sa nag-call up in terms of societal needs because the late President Aquino believes that the learners should be globally competitive internationally. Papaano nga naman makikipagsabayan ang mga Pilipino if our education system is not that strong enough to compete with other curriculum like UK, US, Korea, Japan, so on and so forth. Isa ito sa nag-call up ng for a curriculum change in terms of education system. Once the curriculum is being changed, they should follow different guidelines. Hindi pwedeng magbago agad-agad ng curriculum without the guidelines. The purpose of the guidelines or the aims of the guidelines is to standardize the curriculum into the department. This part of the curriculum implementation includes the goal, objective, philosophies of education. The Department of Education should also consider this aspect into the field. Into this part of the curriculum, the department should strategize the curriculum implementation in planning, content, and methods in terms of implementation and evaluation. So, hindi basta-basta naisipan ang curriculum. It should be planned by the different higher ups or by the different um, positions into the national level, because curriculum implementation um, is not easy as that. So therefore, planning and evaluating and of course organizing the curriculum must be addressed by these officials so that the teachers will have a better um, implementation with regards to the curriculum that they planned or that they formulated. Kasi ang Department of Education, they are the one who formulated or who make the curriculum. But we teachers, we are the one who implemented, or we are part of the implementation rather. So after they plan, they organize, dito na papasok yung implementation. So dito papasok yung mga teachers. Dito papasok yung battlefield. So once the guideline is being made by the Department of Education, the next picture that will come is the implementation among the teachers. This will cover the teachers in implementing the curriculum, or on how does the teacher will give the learning process into the students. So in terms of implementation of the teachers, sometimes we can experience incrimination. So what do we mean by incrimination? The incrimination is a process or gradual change in a small degree over time. So an example of this is the MELC, or the most essential learning competencies. Nung wala pang pandemic, sobrang daming competencies doon sa ating curriculum in terms of K-12. But then again, nung na-experience natin yung pandemic, there are some incrimination. There are some changes because the society and the curriculum must fit into the situation. So, dito, ang nagkaroon tayo ng changes, nagkaroon tayo ng merging of competencies because of the situation. So, when the pandemic arrives, there are some changes into the curriculum of the program. Since we should adopt the change into the society, the curriculum also were adjusted based into the situation of the society. As an implementer, we should know the current situation of the society so we can also adjust our teaching methodologies and strategies in delivering the learning process among the students. So, very necessary yung changes in terms of curriculum. Sabi nga nila, 'di ba, in one quotation, that change is the only constant thing in this world. So therefore, every now and then there's a new learning technology, so on and so forth. So we should adopt changes as an educator. So aside from that, communication is necessary for the teachers. So I've included the horizon and vertical communication. Once we said horizon or yung patayo, that is hierarchical. So hierarchy in terms of position. In terms of curriculum implementation, pag sinabi nating horizontal, the implementation of the curriculum starts from the higher ups. It can be from the division to the principal to the teachers. That is a horizontal communication. So therefore, kinakailangan nating magkaroon ng communication for we to monitor what is the situation of the curriculum implementation. So that's why nagkakaroon tayo ng mga technical assistants to be particular, nagkakaroon tayo ng different kind of communication sa ating mga heads, to be particular sa ating mga EPS, para address kung ano yung mga situations or different problems that we encountered since tayo yung nasa battlefield. On the other hand, once we said vertical communication, dito pumapasok yung same level. It's like teacher-to-teacher communication. I can still remember dito, or I just want to share a practice, or even siguro sa school nyo or dun sa mga friends nyo din po, na vertical communication is an everyday aspect of our teaching strategy. Dito pumapasok yung pagpapalitan natin in terms of ideas from our colleagues, from our co-teachers, so on and so forth. So, sometimes yung minimal conversation natin nakakapag-formulate ng different strategies, and that is what we call vertical communication among the teachers. It is very necessary for the teachers to have a vertical communication because it address the problems of the students. Sometimes into the faculties, di ba, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga sharings of the problems ng ating mga students. Bakit ganto si ganyan? Bakit ganto si ganyan? Bakit ganto si batang ganto? So, that particular situation is a vertical communication, and because of that communication, we can strategize different methodologies for we to address the needs of our learners in terms of competencies, learning, diversity, so on and so forth. So that is a two kinds of communication in terms of curriculum planning. So the thing is, or the big question here is, why do we need to implement curriculum? The main purpose is for the children developmental or the learning development. As I mentioned a while ago, because of the globalization, K-12 program was proposed by the late President Aquino, because he believes that the children should that the children must be equipped in terms of globalization and in terms of international level. So we should adopt changes in terms of curriculum because the world is emerging every now and then. So we should adjust what is needs. We should adjust what is the needs of the society rather. So the main purpose of that is for the development of our student. Why do that is the answer? Why do we implement this kind of curriculum? So to continue, this is the four aspect of curriculum implementation that I've discussed a while ago. On the other hand, there are different branches to be discussed into this four aspect. So in terms of national level and curriculum guidelines, once the curriculum is being formulated, or once the curriculum is being planned by the national level and into the guidelines of the Department of Education, they should indicate the values and historical tradition. So values education focuses into the transformation of the concept and practices related to the moral civic. So it is necessary for us to address this kind of values. Kasi nga, ito yung hindi dapat mawala in terms of our students. We should adopt different kinds of tradition from different system internationally. But then again, we should not eradicate the value system of the Filipinos. The value system of the Filipinos must be integrated into the curriculum system of the subject taught by the teachers. As a person who is immersed in learning phase, it must be seen, or it must be a part of group and in which the individual is being influenced, and in which he can develop a series of civic behavior. Localization and contextualization is also addressed by the teachers. So, in terms of localization, sometimes dito pumapasok yung pagkakaroon natin ng incrimination, as I've mentioned a while ago. So, we are not changing the curriculum, but then again, we are modifying the curriculum based into the historical figures of our community. Because the learners should connect into the society, we can give different examples of our topic based into the community. Napakagandang practice ng localization because the learners adjusted and um, connecting their personal insight into your discussion based into the community that he or she belongs. And that is what we call the values historical tradition. So aside from that, the national curriculum and guidelines should also perform or undergo in different kinds of research. Kaya nga usong-uso ang mga CIP or Continuous Improvement Plan and researchers or research to be particular, because it is an evidence evidence output to be particular. So, kinakailangan nito na magkaroon tayo ng mga research for we to address what is the problem of the curriculum. Because in every situation or in every aspect of education, kahit iisang curriculum lang yung umiikot in terms of Department of Education, nagkakaiba tayo because of the implementation. So therefore, kinakailangan natin magkaroon ng research for we to address those problems, for we to help the community and the learners in curriculum implementation. Now, the education research is also important for the students to improve practices and at the same time it helps improving those individual who really wish to bring improvement in those practices. So this way of educational researches helps in an overall improvement of the individual. The educators benefited through various research as it helps them in living or in having a better understanding of the subject. Along with it, this develops greater understanding related to teaching, learning, and other educational administration. We also adopt various researches from international level to align to the setup into our classroom. So those are the different or the importance of the research in curriculum implementation. So after that, in terms of implementation nandun na tayo sa battlefield, the national curriculum should have or should support the workforce or tayo ng mga teachers. In terms of curriculum implementation, it is necessary for the agency to invest in its workforce to implement the curriculum. This aspect of implementation can derive into various trainings of teachers. During the implementation of the K-12 programs, various trainings and seminars was implemented in dealing with competencies and objective of the program. The agency must put budget into the implementers, which are the teachers, tayo, in various learning process so that we can deliver our lesson properly. A teacher training program is a program that equips the teachers with techniques and modern pedagogy strategies that helps them to better connect with the manage on how we manage and teach our students in manners. So dito po mapasok yung different kinds of strategies, methodologies. The Department of Education should support the workforce, we teachers. On the other hand, some teachers also enrolled in graduate schools to ensure the quality of education for the learners. Parang tayo. Some agencies give scholarships to the teachers to cater for their studies for them to update their ability, capability in dealing the curriculum. On the other hand, in serve training and staff development is necessary for the teachers who lack in deep understanding of curriculum. Sometimes kasi, nagkakaroon tayo ng problem in terms of curriculum implementation. So, the answer into those problem is yung inset or lack na tinatawag natin. So, this session will help us in dealing the curriculum implementation. The program, or this is the program of the school based into the different methodologies, strategies, activities that can cater curriculum implementation to our students. Such programs must fit into the schools that provide them. Effective in-service program or yung INSET results collaborative effort and address the needs of those who will be affected by the new curriculum. So, kaya nga tayo, di ba, meron tayong, what do you call this one? Yung sinasagutan natin, the assessment, the personal assessment, yung sinusukat yung strength and weaknesses natin for we to address kung ano ba yung mga kinakailangan natin for the inset. Okay, now. To continue, of course, aside from investing into the workforce, we should also have the resources. So, dito papasok yung kaperahan. One of the greatest contribution for the curriculum implementation is funding, to be particular. In the school-based implementation, the curriculum MOOE or yung budget of the school gives portion into the curriculum implementation. Dito kinukuha yung mga seminars ng teachers, so on and so forth. So sa school namin, sometimes, or most of the time rather, nagkakaroon kami ng mga projects, activities to be particular, na kinakailangan namin ng different kinds of equipments in terms of our discussion. So, sinusuportahan yon, kinukolekta yung mga kinakailangan naming materials, supplies, so on and so forth, for us to deliver what is necessary for the students. Kasi isa ito sa crucial problem of the school. The principal should give support into the methodologies, supplies, demands of the teachers for us to have a good atmosphere in terms of curriculum implementation. Aside from that, we also have the partnership. So, what do we mean by partnership? In curriculum design, or in designing the curriculum, partnership must give a portion in terms of implementation. It is recommended to change or add curriculum in terms of stakeholders, to be particular. They also they've been a part of the curriculum implementation. They also serve as the community support and ability to understand what is the implementation all about. So, in terms of the new curriculum, once na nagkaroon tayo ng new curriculum, it must be sustained and maintained through time to time for the pupils to improve. So, definitely, hindi naman kakayanin yon ng resources or MOOE. Kaya meron tayo mga partnership. So, dito, sometimes nagfe-fail because of the support from our community or yung tinatawag nating mga LGU, to be particular. So, or sometimes stakeholders, rather. Dito din ay pumapasok yung mga companies na pwedeng magsuporta or pwedeng mag-contribute in terms of resources doon sa pag-i-implement ng ating curriculum. I want to share a practice from our school. Nagkaroon kami ng curriculum implementation partnership with our previous students, to be particular. Hindi lang naman kasi donations yung pwedeng ibigay ng stakeholders na in terms of money, in terms of kind. Hindi lang ayun yung pwede nilang ibigay in terms of service, pwede din yan. So, meron kaming standardized test na tinatawag. So, syempre, yung test na yon, it should be evaluated by the different professions, to be particular. So, ang ginawa namin, since kailangan sa SBM yung partnership and stakeholders, in-invite namin sila to evaluate the test, to evaluate different programs, to evaluate different activity that is presented by the team. So, isa din sila sa katuwang because sometimes they can give a suggestion, recommendation, and of course, they can evaluate the curriculum implementation. As we indicate, all curricula developed, implemented, are constantly monitored by the stakeholders. So, lagi namin, ini-invite yung mga stakeholders namin in terms of activities kasi katuwang na namin sila sa mga programs and activities namin. So stakeholders are individuals or institutions that are interested into the curriculum. They involve in many different ways. Together with the teachers, school managers, parents, and even whole community have interest into the curriculum. So, napakagandang isipin na ganun yung practice ng isang school if we invited the stakeholders for them to address the needs of the curriculum. And last but not the least, monitoring and evaluation is also needed by the curriculum implementation. This is a process in gathering information for evaluating the effectiveness of the curriculum and ensuring the intended, implemented, and attained curriculum are aligned. So, dito pumapasok yung checking of our DLL, to be particular. Lagi yan sinecheck. Bakit? Because it is one way to monitor on how does the teacher implement the curriculum. So, sinecheck talaga siya every now and then. So, curriculum implementation must be supervised and monitored. So, both the manners of teaching and the content being addressed needs oversight. And sometimes nagkakaroon din tayo ng mga COT or classroom observation for us and for the heads to monitor the curriculum implementation inside of our classroom setup. Sometimes the supervisors provides different direction and guidelines to make sure that the teachers have skill to carry out changes. Effective supervisors or EPS to be particular realizes that they must adjust their tactics to the situation and participations. Supervisors can give experienced teachers in terms of teaching methodologies, strategies, and activities. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng mga technical assistants, to be particular, for us to equip ourselves in terms of curriculum implementation. So, this is the whole part of the curriculum implementation once na nagkaroon tayo ng change in terms of our curriculum. So, to continue with the topic, once the curriculum is already finished, we should know what are the different process for which to implement the curriculum. So according to the reference that we use, there are 5 guidelines that we should follow in implementation of curriculum as a change process. So let me begin with the first guideline. In the changes of design, the curriculum must improve the student's achievement, must be technically sound. It means that the changes should reflect on research about what works and what does not work as opposed to bandwagon the effect, under which we go along with whatever design to improve or for the improvement in the near future. So, the curriculum must be research-based. In planning the curriculum, it is necessary for us to think for the betterment of the students because that is their main goal. So, we must know how to give what is best for us, our students, with accordance with their ability and capability. We must also focus into the development of their skills and nurture them so that they can use these competencies in the near future. So, as the education system is an emerging aspect of our daily lives, we should teach our students with basic life skills so that they can use them in other everyday living. And of course, we should teach them to become a lifelong learners for them to understand the real scenario of our subject or the real scenario of the curriculum. So that is the first thing that must comes into the process. So we should know how to adjust for the betterment of our students. So the second is change. In terms of changing the curriculum, successful innovation requires change in the structure of a traditional school. That is the second guidelines. So, as we all know, change is the only constant thing in this world, so we must know how to deal with it. As an educator, we should follow the trends of the education system. We should not be as stagnant in terms of the development, and we must know how does this trend affects the education system. As we face the globalization into the field of education, mas lalo natin dapat makipagsabayan tayo into the trends. The education system is badly needs for effective innovation of scale that can help to produce the needs of high quality learning outcome across the system. The primary focus of education innovation should be teaching on learning theories and practices, as well on the learning process of the learners. And of course, we should know how to communicate with our parents, communities, and purposeful systemic research and the different pedagogy that we can use. So we should know the structure of the curriculum implementation. So one of the critical areas of research and innovation can be cost and timely efficiency of the learning. On the other hand, different pedagogy and innovation oftenly smart scale in the development of good ideas into the shared practice across the school in challenging in many ways. Specifically, it is an innovation for us to change or to challenge the fundamental beliefs about teaching and learning. So this study investigates how does we validate pedagogical methods requiring integrated information and communication. So we must know how to deal with this kind of trends as an education. The third one is the innovation must be manageable and feasible for the average teachers. So since we change the curriculum, once it is being implemented, it happens that we or the higher ups should help the ordinary teachers to come up into the strategies on how they will implement the curriculum. So the higher up should help them for them to understand the changes into the curriculum. It is necessary for the heads to know the capability and ability of the teachers so they can give technical assistance to them. So, since the curriculum is changing, the teachers must also adopt into changes in terms of methodologies, pedagogies, and strategies. On the other hand, the change must not totally far from the previous curriculum so that the teachers can perform their task effectively. Adjustment into the curriculum is necessary. With this, the head should monitor if the teacher can manage into the changes of the curriculum. So that is how does the heads should be managed in terms of changing the curriculum. The fourth one is, as the curriculum change, the implementation of successful change efforts must be organic rather than bureaucratic. So a bureaucratic approach is a strict rules and in monitoring. So with this, may hirapan yung mga teachers in dealing with changes because it is bureaucratic. So in this situation, the implementer of the system must be organic. So with such an approach, it should be replaced with this kind of deviation from original plan and recognizes the grassroots problem of the school condition. So with this, it can help the teachers to cater their ability and capability as an educator effectively and efficiently. And the last one is, in terms of changes, we should avoid the do something anything syndrome. So what do we mean by this one? The do something anything syndrome embodies how we often feels that once we invest a significant amount of time in an endeavor, we must finish. But getting a result requires constant refinement and whatever course of action we commit to. Well, often it goes wrong. A definite curriculum plan is needed to be focused on the efforts, time, and money on sound, rational content and activities of education. The curriculums benefit by considering their applicability in the particular context of their own school and school district. So those are the different guidelines in implementation of the change in the curriculum as a process. So with that, thank you and have a nice day ahead. Again, I am Ruben B. Paloma, your presenter. Thank you and have a nice day ahead.